I'm Hannah Rogers, Head of New Business and Client Lead at Blue Yonder Research. Thank you very much for having me. I'm excited to be here. Today I'm going to talk to you about a slightly different way of storytelling, and it's entitled, Sometimes You Need to Wear a Different Hat. And the premise of this, and I'm sure you've all seen things like The Matrix, is that reality is only a perception. It's very much biased by our lived experiences, and we all frame our understanding of the world through references to what we know or what we think we know. And why is this important for market research and our industry? Basically, because ourselves, our clients, we all understand our products in relation to what we know about them. So yes, we might be consumers in our own right, but we know the ins and outs of them. We know the technical detail. We know specifically how they should work, how we think people use them, and what the right or wrong way to do so is. And in this particular case study, I'm going to talk to you about a client of ours, a global manufacturer of home care products. And in this particular instance, it was professional market, professional kitchen cleaning products that we were looking at. And this idea of reality being a perception was absolutely fundamental to storytelling. So we need to understand that this project was about creating consumer-centric products. So that's a key objective of so many of our clients. We need to start with the consumer. We need to make products in line with their needs. And suddenly you start to see disconnects. So thinking back to the idea of reality is framed by our own perceptions, our own knowledge, our own understanding. We have a client team here who are scientists, the best in the world with an intricate knowledge of enzymes, chemical components. You've got an R&D team, similar specialists, but their understanding is a little bit more holistic, but effectively it's about product performance. So yes, there's elements of packing there and claims as well, but fundamentally they are experts in product performance. You have the brand, category, marketing, sales teams. They're powerful advocates of the end user benefits. They know why we should use this product, the purpose, what it delivers to the market. And then you've got a final set of people, and there are much more than this, but you've got a relevant team to this category who are health and safety experts. These are the guys that have written those instructions on the back of pack to keep people safe. And damn it, they are confident that that's how people use a pack. They are absolute experts in how a product should be used to comply with legislation. That's brilliant. So that's one reality, one set of perspectives. And within that, you've got 4 different sets of stakeholders. And the other perception, the other story we need to tell is the buyers and the end users of this product. So first of all, 2 very different sets of people. You've got Marco. So this project took place in Italy about a year and a half ago. So again, still COVID times. And now Marco was an entrepreneurial restaurant owner in Rome, and there was several different Marcos in this. I'm using Marco as an example, but very strong data. So this person, this Marco, had his own restaurant in Rome. The end user, typified here by Luca, was a 20-year-old seasonal restaurant worker who maybe worked 15 to 20 hours a week. And basically he was a student and he was paying for his nights out. So he wasn't even a professional chef. He wasn't a professional cleaner. He was just somebody with effectively a summer job paying his way in the world. So again, you've got different sets of tensions and truths that are likely to come out here already, and you'll see where I'm going with this. This is an absolute void. So first off, you've got the stories, you've got the perceptions, you've got the realities of your stakeholders. So again, 4 different teams identified. And then within the user space, you've got 2 different sets of users. Before you even get into segmentation or anything, you've got 2 different people or types of people identified. And to fill this void, this is where storytelling comes in. You've got to help them understand the reality and the perception of other people. And to do that, we say sometimes you need to wear a different hat. It's not enough to have one set of research expertise to do some qual or some quant. It's not enough to do some ethnography. You have to do multiple things to really meet the needs of all of these people in one go. And I think it is important to say here that Blue Yonder, we believe in doing things differently. And I will say it's not just for the sake of it as well. I don't ever advocate doing things differently for the sake of it, because basically if everyone does the same things in the same way, you'll all get the same answers. And if your competitors are asking the same questions in the same way, they'll get the same answers of you. doing things differently gives you fresh insight, nuances, little details, little insights that nobody else has. And that is what delivers the real world competitive edge and the commercial wins. So thinking back to the purpose of this, you've got to talk about three things: truth, tension, and triangulation. To successfully tell the story, you need to draw out the tensions between the perceptions. And as researchers, I think we're biased to trying to pull things together. We need that because we need to give clear, precise direction and recommendations. But we almost cover up the anomalies and tensions because we want to show that we know what we're doing. But actually, sometimes to tell that story in the most powerful way, you need to expose those differences in realities. You need to put on those different hats. You need to create that contrast, create that spectacle. And you'll see already I've talked about different things: stakeholder perception, sales data, qual, quant, ethnography, and we'll come on to all of these elements in turn. These are different perceptions, different realities, different versions of the truth, all with conflicting stories to tell that we need to make sense of to give a real clear direction to consumer-centric design. In terms of hats, the first hat, or horns, I don't know if this is technically a hat, but we call it putting on your devil's advocate's hat. So when we started this project, I mentioned we've got several sets of stakeholders in this, we asked them one question: what matters most to people about their cleaning products in a professional kitchen? And then we shut up. And we got 4 different answers. R&D team, absolute confidence, germ kill. For it to kill 99.9% of germs, that is what our people need. That is what our buyers of this product need. And then they sort of caveat with us, but obviously you need to leave it on for 10 minutes before it actually works. You've got to leave it. Brilliant. And you've got the compliance side, the health and safety go, well, absolutely, I completely agree. They're leaving it on for 10 minutes. It says leave it on for 10 minutes. They will be doing that. We are confident. Brand team, as they would, they go brand is the most important thing. You've got the sales data, actual facts, what are people buying? The category team know this. Multi-purpose, that's our bestseller. So flexibility matters. We infer from this flexibility matters. And you've got the insights team going, oh, multi-purpose is perceived to be lower efficacy. People want to buy lots of products, each one specific purpose to increase confidence. So again, they're confident, as it would in the domestic market, that you buy a specific bathroom cleaner, your perception is that it's more efficacious in a multi-purpose. So again, these are 4 truths, 4 realities, 4 perceptions, 4 different stories. Okay. So we've got this layer of complexity, this layer of data. It's valid. Stakeholders know their category. We can't dismiss this. The next hat you need to put on is your quant hat. And in this instance, we spoke to 1,000 restaurant workers and owners throughout Italy. And we asked them many questions, but one of them was, how important is hygiene and cleanliness to you? So again, thinking what the stakeholders told us and thinking back to the purpose, we need to design with these people in mind. We asked them this question: how important is hygiene and cleanliness to you? Not at all important to extremely important. 98% of people agreed that hygiene and cleanliness are extremely important to me. And this is statistically significant. 98%. And stats are facts, aren't they? Stats are right. Then we put our qual hat on. So again, triangulating these, deliberately creating this tension to make sure we don't miss anything. And I had to use this picture for the qual cap. But ultimately, we suddenly got a little bit of discontent. The first tension started really showing up here. So again, Lucas, the guy actually cleaning as well as waitress and waitering. You've got to keep the place clean everywhere, all the time. Brilliant. Yes, think back to your COVID stats. Think back to those stats. Hygiene matters. Since COVID, everyone is watching you spray disinfectant. So it's a bit of a show for me. That language isn't absolutely consistent with it matters. It's a bit of a show. I'm doing this for the benefit of the people. I don't really care. It's a show. You've got to make out that you're really clean. And again, I know some challenges might be, oh, well, it's a different language. This was interpreted properly. We absolutely check the cultural resonance of these words. It's very, very powerful. But again, it really did translate to, it's a bit of a show. It's a performance. I don't really care. I have to pretend I care. But we've still got Marco, the business owner, going, yes, 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 I insist on the highest standards. So even within the end user, even within the people that are giving us these stats, There's differences, there's tensions, and as a researcher, you're thinking, how the hell do I present this to my client? How do I navigate through all this data to give them an answer, a single version of the truth? And this is where a different hat comes in, a director's hat. And I will say I've called it a director's hat, but actually you're a director, a producer, a journalist, a narrator, a camera operator. You're all these different things. And here I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about how we did this in a real world professional kitchen, because, you know, this isn't just a vox pops captured in home or on the street or in the comfort of a focus room. This is real world. It's real life. It's a busy, dirty, dusty, smelly, dangerous working kitchen. This is real life and the stark reality of working in an Italian restaurant in Italy as the world is opening up after COVID. So we really have to remember the mission. So the ultimate mission is to create a product. How do we create a product that is consumer-centric, user-centric? So how do we win in the market with that? But ultimately, the mission for this particular project is how do we tell the most compelling story to cross-function stakeholders? So think about what this means for ethnography and camera setup. You've got your qual, you've got your quant, you're moving on to a different methodology, you're looking at a different hat here. So logistics, when you're setting things up in a kitchen, you know, in this instance, we had to leave it in for a week. We had to think about the natural cycle of events that were happening in this restaurant. So you've got to think about power. How the hell do I get power to these cameras for a week? Security, you know, we have had people steal cameras in the past. Just because they work for the company that you're researching doesn't mean to say they're not going to nick your stuff. You know, they need the money, they take the camera, and we do luckily have a very large member of the team that nipped this in the bud. Safety, so the compliance guys will be happy. We've got to think about health and safety here. You know, there can be no wires, but also we can't have electrical fires. There's all this stuff to consider. Confidential, informed consent. It's not just the restaurant owner that needs to be on board with this. You've got to get that whole team working. You've got to get them to understand that they are being filmed. So we've got the compliance there, but also forget about it enough to do all the weird stuff that they do if you weren't watching. Storage capacity as well. So again, how much memory has these cameras got? And downloads, how are you physically going to get that footage? It's no good stuck in Italy. You need to watch it, and you need to watch it live, because dear God, this is hours and hours and hours and hours of footage from multiple cameras. Obviously, the most important thing is the insight. So think about your end goal. So the objectives of this is to create consumer-centric design. So we need to understand how people are using the products in technical detail. You know, how much pressure are they using? How are they holding it with their hands? How long is it sprayed on the surface for? Where are they storing it? Who is using it? What's the occasion? What's the need? And you know, what's the applicator for this product? Are they using a cloth? Are they using some paper towel? Are they leaving on? Are they not leaving on? All these questions that we need to answer to inform R&D decisions, brand decisions, product decisions, formulation decisions, safety decisions. So within that, you need to think about, how are you going to get the best content with this camera placement? How are you going to get the best field of vision? You know, actually, you need to fill the storage cupboard. So is there enough light in that storage cupboard to permit you to do this? The reach of the microphone, you know, do you have to listen to what people are saying? You know, or is that out of scope of the project? In this occasion, we did need to listen to what they were saying. But again, how does that work with all the noises, the fan noises? We had to use external microphones. And again, the duration, again, how many hours a day do you need to have this filming to capture what you need? The impact as well. So you've got the logistics sorted, you've got the insight sorted. Think about the impact. So when we're telling stories, the most impactful stories are beautiful. And this is what I mean. It's not enough for us to be researchers. We have to be directors and producers as well. So insight still has to be beautiful. Think about the framing of it. You need to get the insight from it. You need to be able to see the real precise technical detail of hands movements, facial expressions, moments, how long something is left on the surface. But think about that beautifully. Think about the camera angles, the resolution, the quality, the perspective. You know, you can see people, you see what they're doing, but can you see life and their experience through their eyes? And the answer is yes. So we actually used multiple cameras. I think there was 4 or 5 cameras in the room, a combination of GoPros, HD cameras, 4K camcorders, so and different heights, different angles to make sure we understood precisely what was going on. And to do this, you have to get in there first. So you've got to have pictures of the room, you've got to have video tours, you've got to have a face-to-face tour. You need to just have a bit of an observe before you even think about getting into the ethnographic detail of where are actually people going to be, to make sure you miss nothing. And obviously you could use eye tracking, but in busy kitchens, again, that's not practical. You know, we could use, again, glasses, not exactly eye tracking, but the sort of spyware glasses. But again, they steam up, they get in the way, they block natural behaviour. So we put chest straps on people with GoPro, so quite a low-tech solution. But it was, again, it's a different perspective. You can see them holding products, spraying products. You can see how they mop the floor. And again, one of the interesting perceptions was that obviously people are using mops. Obviously, they're going to be using mops to mop the floor. They're using, because they've got no storage solutions, they're using the same brush as they would to brush the floor, and they're putting a hole in a wet cloth soaked in disinfectant, and they're pushing that over the end of the brush and creating a mop out of a brush. I mean, that was incredibly powerful, and we saw that, we observed that, and we saw how many times they ran it over the floor. Combination of GoPros on chest straps and these other wider reaching cameras captured every single element, and it really was incredible. So again, compare this contrast, compare this what was going on, the observation, with the original quant stats and the perceptions of the teams. Hygiene and cleanliness are extremely important to me. We are professional kitchens. We watched this at 10 a.m. This was actually the restaurant owner who, again, is still saying it's important. He just gets stuck in occasionally, still saying that hygiene is important. At 10 a.m, this man wiped raw meat from his knife. At 10:34 a.m, he wiped the metal counter clean with the same cloth. 11:22, it wiped his nose. And at 1:34 p.m, just a couple of hours later, he polished silver cutlery with it that went out to service. Hygiene and cleanliness are extremely important to me. Again, here's some screenshots of some of the things that we witnessed. Again, this contrast even between the qual. So think about back to Luca, who's saying, oh, you know, it's a show, and you know, they go on to say that a lot of people in this category, they go on to say that, you know, every second I get, you know, I might not be really caring that I'm wiping it down, it's for show, you know, because people can see through the glass window. I might not be getting to the edges, but I'm giving it a quay and a spray and a quick wipe every spare second I get. I'm doing that. He isn't. He's on his phone. This other one, every spare second I get, I'm wiping it down for show, to impress my boss, to impress the consumers. He's not. He's doing shots. And this is repeated behaviour. It's not one-off examples. It's consistent. It's flaws. It's a contrast, reality versus perception. You know, there's a dog. Hygiene and cleanliness are extremely important to me. There is a dog in this working professional kitchen. And this is a fancy pants restaurant as well. We have a child. I mean, how this child did not lose the finger, we were watching it and we were absolutely on tenterhooks because we were petrified this child's finger was going. So again, you know, this child is touching, he's licking his hands, he's touching the work surface. Before we've even got onto the actual product and the cleaning use, we're seeing this disparity. So what does it mean? What does this actually mean for the insight and the story they're trying to say? It means that we've got 4 different versions of the truth. Reality is only a perception. We've got all these different hats in terms of methodology, in terms of how we speak to people, in terms of what we understand. We've got your stakeholders themselves with 4 different versions of what matters. We have the quant survey. We've got the qual. Again, 2 tensions within that between users and buyers. And then we've got the observation, which is a different reality, a different set of truth, because I think we all know that people don't actually do what they say they do, even if it's not intentional. They're not necessarily lying. They're just unaware of their own behaviour. They don't overthink it. They just do. And the truth is that telling a story that is powerful is all about contrast. It's about the build-up, and this is how you do it. This is how you tell this powerful story. You layer on detail after detail, contrast after contrast. It's a piece of hat-wearing theatre to drive action and force change. And normally, again, as I mentioned before, it's, as researchers, we're looking for a thread that ties all this together, and we still are. But sometimes we gloss over the disparities. We go, okay, we'll get to the point. Well, what, so what? But actually, we haven't really won people over. They haven't really understood that those tensions are important, because stakeholders aren't wrong. Marco isn't wrong. Luca isn't wrong. Everyone just sees it from a different perspective. It's their own reality. It's their own hat. They see their own version of the truth based on their own understanding of the category and their real life situation. And this is so beautiful, but they are humanized through contrast. They're understood through their flaws. And I think it's called hamartia in the ancient world. It was that fatal flaw that people had. And because they have these flaws, because there are these contrasts and these tensions that we need to triangulate and bring together as a version of the truth, we engage more with their stories because we see their differences. And actually, it makes it okay that as stakeholders, maybe we got it a little bit wrong. Maybe we didn't know the full picture. They don't know the full picture. Nobody knows the full picture. It's okay. And what actually happened at the end of this project? What happened when we presented these 4 different realities and versions of the truth? And we got somewhere beautiful. We got truly empathic design, because for the first time they understood all the contrasts, all the differences. They understood that there's so many people, even within the same target audience, even with the same technical segments, who have different needs, who articulate things and use things and have different needs. And ultimately, this is what got us the competitive edge and delivered the real world commercial wins when the products were optimized and MPD was delivered. So in terms of comms, there's more than these findings, but ultimately the comms, they suddenly realised they needed to be 2-tier. They needed to satisfy the people of the business owner who was ticking that box. Yes, I need it to be absolutely hygienic and clean. That matters to me. And Luca, the user, quick and easy. That's what matters to him. We're meeting those needs. So comms, yes, we're both happy. We know exactly how to use it. You just squirt and you just go. So in thinking about the product, we know it's 99.9% effective after 10 minutes. But when you've just watched someone spray it and then having to wipe it away quickly because they can't put the meat on the counter with the liquid on, you suddenly see that they really need a quick dry formulation. You've suddenly got stakeholder buy-in to unlock that and prioritise it, because otherwise there's a risk of food poisoning. It's not working as it should. You see a new way of application that you'd never considered. So you've got space to stretch and grow. You've suddenly seen that the storage challenges in the storage cupboard with the dog in. That's why they can't fit mops and the products in there, because there's a dog in there. But on a serious note, you've suddenly seen the opportunity to get a competitive edge with packaging as well. What can you deliver shape-wise that will fit in that cupboard better? Again, it fits better with the real world. It meets the consumer, the user need better. You've designed for the real world, and that's a beautiful thing. And you've done this through different ways of telling stories, wearing different hats as a researcher. You're a director, a quality, a quantity, bringing this all together into a single comprehensive story that's made up of tensions. And that is very, very powerful. So thank you very much for listening. Hopefully you enjoyed it or found it useful. I'm more than happy to take any questions or take the discussion offline if you've got any real details you need to understand in a little bit more depth.